Yo, what's up, family? Before we start the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and share to any and everyone that you can. Just so we can out there a little bit more. With that being said, let's get right into the video. Brooklyn Nets rookie guard, 19-year-old Nolan Traore put on a clinic versus the Chicago Bulls, an all-around game that I really loved and I wanted to take a look. So let's get into the film. All right, how y'all doing? I hope y'all doing good. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, make sure you take your shoes off before you come out. And Brooklyn Nets rookie Nolan Traore had a phenomenal game against the Chicago Bulls. 13 points, 13 assists, 3 rebounds, a steal, and a block in this game, and he was responsible for 45 points in this game as his 13 assists created 32 points for his team. I don't watch every Brooklyn Nets game, of course. I know everybody, but I'm a Celtics fan, and I remember the last time we played the Brooklyn Nets, it was a double overtime, close, thrilling matchup, right? And Nolan Traore was out there for a lot of those high leverage minutes. And a couple of the things that Jordi Fernandez said about him being out there is that, yeah, I wanted to take advantage of his speed. I wanted to take advantage of his paint touches, his passing, getting downhill, and stuff of that nature. When you watch this game, he did a great job of using all those things. He just took what the defense presented to him and just used his speed and his IQ and his playmaking to do that. So as Jaden Ivey jumps over to the screen of Noah Clowney to make it seem like he's about to ice the screen, he just calmly rejects the screen, gets downhill, and gets an assist to Terrence Mann. All right, so as I was making this video, I wanted to look at some stuff, and I noticed a couple things, right? Okay, again, Brooklyn Nets fans, if you guys are watching this, I don't watch every Brooklyn Nets game, again, but I always look to see what y'all got going on. I love the rookie class. Yegor shot has been really surprising, but one of my guys in this draft was Drake Powell, so I'm always trying to check in and see what's going on. And I was looking at you guys' play type. So what kind of plays do you guys run like per game? And NBA.com isn't the greatest with like the track and stuff, but I saw a couple things, right? And I know you guys run a lot of handoffs. You guys are first in handoff possessions per game. So that's Nick Claxton handing off to Michael Porter Jr. and stuff like that. But I also saw that you guys are 29th in pick and roll handler possessions, and I thought that was like jarringly low for the type of point guard that you have, the Ben Sharaf, the Nolan Traore, the Yegor Dimon, even like a Danny Wolf, who those guys are all like playmakers, right? And of course, there are different ways to be a playmaker than just getting a pick and roll or a screen and then doing stuff off that. I'll never question Jordi Fernandez. I think he's one of the best coaches in the NBA, especially from watching this game. I guess there's such a difference from having Michael Porter Jr. in the offense and then not having him, because they ran so many pick and rolls in this game. And Nolan Traore, he's played only 30 games this season, has started 7, but in his last 5, all 5 starts, 12 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists on 49, 39, 80 splits. But I just wanted to put that out there. And on this play, him and Claxton get into a pick and roll, and he did a phenomenal job of reading the tag in this game and the 2-on-1 situation. So as Claxton sets this screen right near the logo, Isaac Okoro is already stepping off of the corner to show that he's the tag. So this is a very early tag indicator here by Isaac Okoro, which forces Modest Buzelis to be in a cover 2 situation with Danny Wolf and Noah Clowney. So as Claxton sets that screen, Nolan Traore is going to come off that, and he knows that he has to somehow manipulate Modest in this cover 2 situation. So he's going to look at Danny Wolf, and he's going to fire that pass over there. You see the step Modest Buzelis took to Danny Wolf, leaves the corner open. Now, if you watch Nolan Traore pre-draft, like the first thing that pops off is his speed and his passing. So anybody that took the time out to watch him pre-draft knew that those were the things that he was going to be able to do at some level in the NBA. What I was most impressed with in this game is his defense, and most notably his verticality. There was like 7 to 8 possessions as a 6'3" guard where his verticality at the rim like literally forced guys to miss shots. And something else I noticed in this game is that when he's switching up and into space, and he's being really physical and aggressive about that, which is good. So that means like when you're switching, you're touching the offensive player and you're passing them all to your teammate, and you're at the level of the screen. This one could have been called a foul. He kind of pushing, but I love the aggressiveness here. And he's guarding Modest Buzelis, who's a really good player. 6'10", the sweep through move. He walls him up multiple times, stops his drive. Great help there by Terrence Mann. Then he gets back. Now Traore is on an island. The sweep through move, gets his hands up so he does not foul. The decel step right there. He jumps vertical again, and that's just tremendous defense by Traore. And then they get back. Well, they're going on offense, a turnover by Danny Wolf, and watch the hustle by him, and the speed gets that strip. And again, it was just insane how many times his verticality was really like a factor at the rim. Now, these are guys that are his size, like Colin Sexton, but there's a couple times where Modest, there was Isaac Okoro. There's a couple times where guys that are much bigger than him and look like they're stronger than him, that he was impacting at the rim. But then we go down right in a pick roll situation where he's coming to wag, gets that floater. All right, here we got another handoff by the Nets. And again, his speed, like he does not need a screen. Like he doesn't need it, but him as a pick and roll handler, like him being able to pass, get downhill, is really effective, right? But he doesn't need a screen. Like, he's just that fast. Like, catches Modest flat-footed after this handoff, completely just blows by him, touches the paint, which is a theme. Like, he's always going to touch the paint. He's always going to drive the ball. 12 drives per 75 possessions, is in the 89th percentile. He draws 3 bulls and kicks out to Clowney again in the corner. And here against Bouzez again, fighting against a really athletic finisher, stops him again. All right, I love this play by the Brooklyn Nets. So we have Nolan Traore telling Claxton to screen away. He sets this wide screen for Terrence Mann, and this is one of the instances where I was like, okay, they do a handoff and a pick roll in the same place. So they get Terrence Mann, he hands it back off to Nolan Traore. And with the Bulls running this 3-guard lineup with Rob Dillingham, Colin Sexton, and Anthony Simons, one of them guys has to be on the corner. Colin Sexton would probably stick his nose in as a tagger, but the rest of these guys probably not. Isaac Crowe will, Yabusele is guarding the pick and roll. So you have to know your personnel in this. You have Claxton, Rolling, and Yabusele as a guy that has to not only backpedal, but has to contend with that, right? And trust me, I love Anthony Simons. He's grown to me defensively this season when he's with the Celtics, but this is just not a situation for him and not a situation for Yabusele. If he has to back up, he's definitely not getting over Claxton. Claxton just misses the dunk. And of course, this is not a perfect player. The one thing that I think he can do right now is, of course, what you're seeing is the playmaking, the speed, but he has to become a more efficient scorer. He has to become a better shooter, and that's going to come with time. He's 19 years old, but here he gets a very tough bucket against great defense from Yabusele. And something that the Brooklyn Nets did multiple times in the pick and rolls with Nolan Traore as the handler that I loved is, as all the pick and roll stuff was happening, they would send somebody to cut baseline and cut to the opposite corner, right? So what this does is it took advantage of the basketball instincts of whoever this defender was, right? So Claxton's gonna set this screen, right? And you can see Clowney as this is about to happen, and he's telling Danny Wolf to cut through, right? As Traore is turning this corner, getting downhill, as Claxton is rolling, right? Danny Wolf is gonna switch corners, right? So he's gonna cut baseline and go to the opposite corner. So as Traore is gonna snake this screen, we got a Gortat screen by niggas Claxton on Yabu. Danny Wolf is already at the opposite corner, right? And it just takes advantage of Isaac Crowe because it's like, hey, I know I'm checking Danny Wolf, but I see a guy that has an open drive to my rim. And it's like, I mean, yeah, I'm guarding Danny Wolf, but am I just going to let this guy get an open lane? Probably not. So he loses focus of Danny Wolf, which leaves him open in the corner, and he hits a 3. And yet another instance of his verticality being a factor at the rim. All right, so to start the third quarter, the Brooklyn Nets ran a ton of ram action. Ram action is an off-ball screen for somebody to go set a ball screen. So, of course, they start this play with the handoff because they're the Brooklyn Nets. Clowney's going to start in this low post area here. They're going to run turn ram. So, Clowney's going to literally turn into the screen. So, he's going to set the off-ball so Claxton can come up there and set the on-ball screen for Traore. Turning into the screen does a couple things. It just catches the defense off guard, and your hope is to get them a step behind or half a step behind, so you can get into that screen freely. So Clowney's gonna turn into that screen. You see Yabusele doesn't know it's coming. Claxton has a little bit of a head start on that. Another important thing that happens is Claxton is gonna change the angle of the screen. So Claxton's gonna run up to this side like he's gonna screen Jaden Ivey over here, but then he's gonna change the angle of the screen and come over there, and you're gonna see what that does to Yabusele. So Yabusele is going to come up and defend right here. He's defending as everything is happening on this side, right? And that's because Claxton changed the angle, did kind of a Verjao screen there, right? So as that happens, now Yabu has to get over. I still don't know how he hasn't realized this, but he has to now not only guard, but he has to get over on a speedy point guard like Traore. And then Claxton gets out that screen really quickly. So now Yabu has to go over and guard this. Then he has to backpedal to not give up a lob. And while he's backpedaling, he has to jump. And he just can't do all three. Good pass by Traore, good play by the Nets. I see the Nets are gonna fake the handoff and have Miles Bouzez go through all this rubbish, and it causes a miscommunication, which in turn gets Traore going downhill. So we got the wide screen there by Nicholas Claxton. He goes under that. You see, it looks like they're gonna do a handoff. Gets Modest flat-footed. He doesn't know where to go. Jaden Ivey tells him to switch, but now it's too late. Great job by Claxton getting out of the screen. He already sees that Traore is going to have this advantage, so no reason to sit here and set this screen. Him getting out forces Yabusele to either drop or make a decision and go up. Either way, they have an advantage with the speed of Traore and the speed of Claxton as the screener getting out of that. So he gets out of the screen, right? But now there's two in the ball. We got Modest chasing Traore, and Yabusele decides to trap the pick and roll. Now, of course, they're playing with the 3-on-2 advantage. Claxton, Terrence Mann, Wolf against Ivy, Anthony Simons. Anthony Simons actually comes in to tag this roller, so of course that leaves Terrence Mann open in the corner, and Traore, of course, finds him. All right, some more ram action by the Nets. We got the off-ball screen from Danny Wolf, so Nick Claxton can come and set this on-ball screen. That's a horrible screen, sorry. It looks better. And then we're just going to have that off-ball to the on-ball, and he's just going to blow right past everybody and get the floater again. All right, so another play where the Chicago Bulls play really aggressive pick roll defense, send to the Terrence Mann as a handler, which means that the Brooklyn Nets can play out of advantage basketball now. So we have Nolan Traore. Now he holds the ball right here, which is important because it makes Isaac Crow come out on him. If he would just pass it quick, Isaac Crow probably could have just got back to the corner, but him holding the ball, then the no look, gets a wide open shot for Clowney, he just doesn't make it. All right, so it looks like the Nets go to chest action. Chest action is when somebody sets an on-ball screen and then they receive a flare after that screen. This on-ball screen can be an actual screen where they set it, or it could be a ghost screen where they just ghost it and get the flare screen here. Now, the Celtics run this a ton, right? A lot of times it's to get the ball to this guy that's setting this goal screen, right? And they getting that flare, they'll pass it here and they can get an open shot. But with the speed of Traore, and this sometimes happens with Jaylen Brown too, this chest action clears this whole side right here. So Terrence Mann's gonna come up from the block, he's gonna set this goal screen, right? Nick Claxton doesn't even have to set the goal screen because as soon as he sets that, Nolan is gone, right? So he jets to the paint. Of course, Isaac Crow's gonna come over there and help him before he can even realize what's happening. The pass is already gone. Great pass from Traore to Clowney again in the corner. Some more good defense by him. He's going to stop this Anthony Simons drive again with his verticality. I shared another great pass. Got some hockey assist action here. He's going to reject the screen. Well, Claxton didn't even really come up to set the screen, but he drags the dribble out to the baseline. You see that pocket open up right there for the pocket pass to Claxton. He gets it over to Danny Wolf for a three. I see a great pass placement by him, sees the leverage here, the position of the defense here. Modest is looking at something else, but he's on this side of Zaire Williams. So, of course, Traore is going to pass it over here. Great pass placement. Zaire just doesn't finish the layup. But then, again, on defense, runs back, gets in front of the speed of Rob Dillingham, stops that drive, makes him redirect, and then the verticality again for a 6'3" guard makes the guy stop. Now, this time, it gets a bigger Isaac Okoro. And here, just great recognition and IQ, just keeping the game simple, not making it hard than it needs to be. Sees that his big man has an advantage on contact, and so he just throws it up there and lets him do the work. All right, here we got another handoff into a pick and roll. Got the handoff there by Danny Wolf. He gets it back. Then we're going to get into this pick and roll. You're going to see Modest Buzelis. He's going to tell Anthony Simons to get over here so he can be in this cover two situation while he's going to be the tagger for Nick Claxton when he rolls to the rim. So as this happens, he's going to roll to the rim. Well, he doesn't really get there yet, but you see how Anthony Simons is coming over to the corner, and that leaves Danny Wolf open. Traore gets it to Danny Wolf. Simons does a good job getting back, but Danny Wolf is a literal 7-footer driving at him. All right, here we got the rookie commanding the offense. We got him calling for the guard-to-guard screen so Anthony Simons can be a part of this. Anthony Simons jumps out on him in the behind the back right there to the layup. Good Gortat screen by Claxton. And of course, it wouldn't be a Nolan Traore video if we didn't end it with his Roy Hibbert-esque verticality at the rim. But that is a video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe, and share to any and everyone that you can, just so we can get out there a little bit more. I will see you guys in the next video. This is Nick. Peace.